Hey guys, CivilizationEx here, and thank you so much for joining me once again as I review the final 6 episodes of Game of Thrones. So let's get right into it with my thoughts on Season 8, Episode 1, titled Winterfell, and personally I think they nailed the season opener. I've loved the show from the very beginning, but in the past few seasons I was growing a little disappointed with some of the writing and storylines, but this episode I feel was a big step in the right direction, and gives me hope that the final season will be everything I was hoping for. If you've seen my reviews before, you know I don't really like to go over the entire episode, as I have another video already up where I do a full recap of everything that happened. So instead I'll be focusing on my personal top 5 moments or scenes, the bad moments if there are any, the best kill, the best quote, and a final score. So beginning with moment number 5, there was the long-awaited reunion between Jon Snow and Arya Stark. From the very first episode, Arya and Jon were my favorite Starks, and that hasn't changed even now going into season 8. And yes, I still consider Jon a Stark, and probably always will. Unfortunately, they didn't really discuss anything very important in this scene, but it was really heartwarming seeing them embrace, knowing that they were really close all their lives, both seen somewhat as outcasts by the rest of the family, as Jon was a bastard and Arya rejected the traditional role of a noble lady. At number 4, there was the meeting held in Winterfell, where the fearless young Lyanna Mormont stood up and chastised Jon Snow for abandoning his northern crown. Backed up by Sansa and the other lords and ladies of the Northern Vale, their morale grew even worse when they learned that they were now allied with the Lannisters. This scene made me very happy, because as much as I love Jon Snow, I thought it was absolutely absurd that he gave up his crown last season, as it was completely unnecessary, given that Dany had already agreed to ally with the North no matter what. So I really appreciated that Jon had to face the consequences of his mistake, and will hopefully learn from it, as I'm sure he intended for his capitulation to the Queen to help unite their people, but instead just divided them further. At number 3, there is the most important moment of the episode, when Samwell Tarly, after learning that Daenerys killed his father and brother, was instructed by Bran to reveal the truth of Jon Snow's origins. Still in pain and angry, Sam met Jon in the crypts beneath Winterfell, where he revealed that his mother was Lyanna Stark, his father was Rhaegar Targaryen, and his true name was Aegon Targaryen, rightful heir to the Iron Throne. After 7 long seasons, Jon finally learned the truth, and as expected, freaked out, and seemed willing to ignore the revelation, until Sam began to question whether Daenerys really cares about the people of Westeros, or whether she simply wanted to be queen at any cost. After all, Jon was willing to give up his crown for the sake of his people. Would Daenerys do the same? Personally, I've always liked Daenerys, and although I've disagreed with some of her decisions, including the execution of the Tarlys, I never considered her a mad queen, or in any way similar to her father. However, my problem with the Targaryens in general falls in line exactly with what Sam said, as they ruled through fire and blood, using the power of their dragons to conquer anyone they wanted, while slaughtering any who opposed them, even though many of those people were simply defending their home against a foreign invader. Seeing as how a marriage between Jon and Dany will likely solve the problem of succession, this scene really gave me hope that the Stark influence within Jon will convince Dany to be less like her ancestors, and more like the enlightened ruler we've seen glimpses of, and many believe she could become. For those who read the books, I see her as having the potential to be either Maegor the Cruel or Jaehaerys the Conciliator. At the number 2 spot, I chose the scene I've been waiting for since the earliest days of the R+L=J theory, and that's Jon Snow riding a dragon. Mounted atop Rhaegal, named for his biological father Rhaegar, it was both amazing and terrifying seeing Jon trying to hold on as it soared through the sky, and this of course led to the incredible moment where Drogon stared menacingly at Jon while he was being intimate with Daenerys. Finally, at the number 1 spot, my favorite scene of the episode was when Tormund Giantsbane, Beric Dondarrion, and Lord Commander of the Night's Watch Dolorous Edd marched into the Hall of Last Hearth, the ancestral seat of House Umber, and saw their young lord Ned Umber impaled and pinned to a wall in a ritualistic pattern, which they believed was a message from the Night King. Although I'm not sure if this was intentional, the image not only reminded me of other patterns the White Walkers created in the past, but also the sigil of House Targaryen, which might suggest some kind of connection between the White Walkers and the ancient dragons of Valyria. This scene then got even better, when Ned Umber suddenly awoke with blue eyes and screeched like a banshee when he was set on fire. For the best kill of the night, to me there's only one clear choice, and that's the impaled boy Ned Umber, pinned to a wall and waking up as a white before being set aflame by Beric Dondarrion. Although I've pretty much only spoken about the northern half of the episode, I did enjoy the southern portion as well, but since all my favorite characters are in the north, it just didn't hold my interest like the rest of the episode. But with that being said, for me the best line of the night goes to Euron Greyjoy, who after speaking with Queen Cersei in an insolent manner, was told she'd executed men for less, only for Euron to reply, they were lesser men. Before giving my final score, there are some interesting moments that I think should be discussed, like Arya seeing dragons for the first time, and then getting Gendry to make her a dragon glass weapon, which to me looks like some sort of spear thrower, and which I think she wants to use to kill the undead dragon Viserion. There was also the mysterious behavior of Bran, who seemed to have a very specific plan about what he wanted to do and when he wanted to do it, like he's playing a game and lining up all his pieces to be in the perfect position for when the enemy arrives. Then there's Cersei, who I suspect was intimate with Euron, not only to keep him happy, but so she can pass off Jaime's son as his, the same way she made everyone believe her other children belonged to Robert Baratheon. Overall, I gave this episode a solid 9 out of 10, as I really enjoyed it and felt it was an excellent way to set up the characters for the rest of the season. The only thing that really stopped it from getting a full 10 in my opinion was that it needed a bit more substance in some of the scenes, but seeing as how this is just the first episode, I have great expectations for what's to come. But that was just my opinion. What do you guys think of the episode? Be sure to let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to check out the episode and season recaps, which can be found in my channel playlists, not to mention the countless videos I have about the book series, including a full timeline covering the history of the entire world up to the end of the last book published in the series. But that's all for now. Hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video. Love Game of Thrones? Then be sure to check out the new book, The Thrones Effect, written by a number of respected A Song of Ice and Fire YouTubers, including GOT Academy, Because Geek, Secrets of the Citadel, Grey Area, Ideas of Ice and Fire, History of Westeros, and Smokescreen, with Chapter 5, titled Eye of the Beholder, written by CivilizationEx, exploring the various ways the characters can be interpreted, as well as how the audience reacted to their decisions. If interested, click on the link in the description box below, where The Thrones Effect is currently available as an ebook, while the physical copy and audiobook will be released soon. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Midori Senin, Jake the Red Fury, Barian the Soft Bastard Beesbury, and Hayaki Snowbeard. If you'd like to help CivilizationEx, click on the Patreon link, and please be sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and click on the links to see more.